Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. This post comes from the 3rd of September 2011, and it follows on from the last video which talks about trying to control the urge to exercise to purge calories while we're on our holiday in Derbyshire. And this post is called A Tricky Week in Derbyshire. The week got progressively worse as Ben's mood deteriorated. It was a combination of school lurking on the horizon and resisting the need to exercise compulsively. Some days were okay, but the eating disorder was still there, like on Thursday at Chatsworth House Cafe, where he suggested sharing our lunch and donated some of his full-fat cheese to me, while I tucked into a Magnum ice cream, a Millionaire's shortbread. He tucked into a Milky Way and a banana. Okay, up until recently, even a Milky Way would have been too scary for him, which does go to show that we've come so far in so many ways. Yet the eating disorder is still in control over many areas of his life, which hammers home the fact that we are still in this for the long haul. It is not over yet, and it won't be for quite a while. Most other days he just skulked around, miserable as sin. By Friday morning his mood had deteriorated into a meltdown with effing and blinding, shouting, tears and deep depression. So I decided to call it a day. We packed our things and came home a day early. Here at home I feel pretty damn tired, as if I've been through a very strenuous and demanding week rather than a relaxing holiday. On the plus side, I believe he did resist the urge to exercise compulsively, but the week wasn't entirely exercise-free. After all, we went for a walk most days, and the Peak District isn't exactly the washboard flat Norfolk Fens. Some may accuse me of colluding with the eating disorder, but before we went away, we agreed to modify the contract to make it easier for Ben to manage the holiday and resist the urge to exercise. By actually reducing his daily calorie intake by 100, the idea was that it would reduce the additional stress while experimenting to see if his claim that every time he kept to his daily calorie total, he felt compelled to exercise, thereby using up the extra calories, was true or false. The scales would tell, of course. In the event, it didn't reduce the stress, but it did mean he was able to resist the compulsions. But I feel as if I've negotiated with the eating disorder, which isn't ideal. And now he's saying I also agreed to reduce his daily intake by a further 100 calories when he returns to school, because at school he really will be sitting around all day doing nothing, as he says. And this way he'd reduce the stress to manageable levels and find it easier to sleep. I denied agreeing to that and insisted that any decision will be made on what the scales say this weekend. So he said that any weight gain would destroy him and that he had put on tons of weight recently. I pointed out that his weight is the same as it was 14 months ago. Between then and now it has been significantly lower, and so on. But I wasn't in the mood for either discussing things calmly and in a caring, sort of supportive way, or for having an argument. So we just packed the car and came home via Meadowhall shopping mall, where I drowned my sorrows in a shoes purchase and a couple of bottles of Marks and Spencer's wine for later, leaving him to try and find a snack he would eat for pudding because, he said, you say I must eat. Time out while I bring in fresh anti-eating disorder troops. And that's the end of that blog post. Not a very positive start to September 2011, but a lot of it was due to the fact that it was school on the horizon and everything that was to come with that. So yeah, thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.